Anyway, let's get to the news, baby. Let's do it. Yeah, of course. You can tell the parts you've sang before. Oh, yeah, because I mean I've tried to sing all the parts. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse looks like he just saw a ghost after they exited the Dem meeting with the Biden campaign officials. That's my goat, dude. He should be the one running for president. Is Kaya communist yet? What do you mean yet? She's been communist. Okay. Brandon's big press conference later today as Dems continue panicking and signaling to Mamala to save them. This guy's Toast is playing basketball against the Liu brothers. Like who? Like Simu Liu? Dude, I've tried to fucking hit him up many times, the ball. Like I have his phone number and shit. He don't fuck with me like that. Okay. Why is it pretty balling nowadays? I mean, I love it. I love playing basketball, so this is great. I have played basketball with Simu. It's just we've played off camera. Yeah, everyone balls except for the Croats, which is weird. Yeah, no, Simu's good. I mean, you know he's good. He's played like on camera too. He played in like the famous like the All-Star League or whatever. Gatekeeping balling. I had down. Don't even try this today. He's pro-Trump, bro. It's an election year. Daily Show Big Boy press conference clip.
Worry not, Biden's team has a plan. Tomorrow he'll hold a press conference to show that he's fully in charge of all his faculties. Unfortunately, their branding isn't helping.
The next test is what the White House says will be some kind of a big boy press conference.
Yeah, bro, they keep saying big boy press conference. Like, that makes it sound so bad. That makes it sound way worse, bro. Like, it legit makes it sound like he's a child. Like, what the fuck? I don't know. It's just perhaps not the best idea. You know what I'm saying? Like, to keep infantilizing the fucking 800-year-old man like he's got the mental faculties of a baby, a child, a little baby child, little baby girl. Anyway, I'll keep doing it though, because I think it's funny.
He'll have a press conference, a big boy press conference, his big boy press conference, a big boy press conference. I guess a big boy press conference is what we're calling it.
Oh my God, stop saying big boy press conference. It sounds like he's going to show everyone that he can tie his own shoes. Although at this point, it would be reassuring to see him do that.
Yeah, they have said it many times. Nah, man, you didn't think it was mature as fuck when someone would get that big kids meal at Burger King? Yeah, there's no way that he's the candidate at this point. I don't think you understand how fucking like cowardly the Democrats are in general and how feckless they are, that like the guy that they originally went with refusing to drop out, even if it's like absolutely during their election chances, they're probably not going to say shit. I'm telling you. I mean, they are saying shit. They're saying the most shit I've ever heard them say, but like, I wouldn't expect more from them. Oh, this is awesome. Biden campaign asked a Wisconsin radio station to cut 2 lines from a post-debate Biden interview. This station agreed. One line that listeners never heard. I have more blacks in my administration than any other president. All the other presidents combined. That's banger, bro. Good job. Yeah. Black people love hearing that. I got many blacks. This is on par with binders full of women. Yeah. You know how we've always talked about like, oh, back in the day, you know, a flub like this would potentially destroy the candidacy, but the Republican Party has changed the game because of Donald Trump. And then like we have this shit. Bro, I think this is a state of decline. Okay? It is absolutely just simply a state of decline. And the Democrats have their own moments as well. You know what I mean? So glad. So glad that we, like, once we were done with the Republicans having this, like, unimaginable state of decline, I'm glad that we now have the Democrats also having their very own version of that shit. It's great. Why don't you watch right-wing channels, conservative channels? It'd be so cool if you watch something that opposes your views and try to badly refute it, lol. Wait, what? Bro, are you new here? Oh, hogs are in here. Let's go. Let's go. New hogs. Yes, I love Fox News. I love watching Fox News. And I watch probably more right-wing news than I watch liberal media for the most part. I am at odds with liberal media as well. However, having said that, at least Fox News is like very entertaining. And you must be new if you think that I don't watch right-wing news. But welcome to the fold, Patriot. PACs are being made to bankroll anti-Biden Dems for if the DNC tries to screw them over. Yeah. What about MSNBC producer confirming that Biden's camp is polling Kamala? Does that mean anything? It means a lot, actually. Follow this guy's example and try to badly refute it. Yeah, I would have to like actually try and badly refute it, because like refuting Republican talking points honestly is not necessarily all that hard. You just like, if you just Google like data, empirical evidence, unfortunately ends up refuting it automatically. Like, it's most Republican positions are one simple Google search away from being absolutely debunked. And it's not your fault. It's just that reactionary ideology revolves around hysteria. Watch history. Oh, he's a Brazilian hog. Oh, let's go. So it's not like, it would be, in my opinion, it is harder to badly refute Republican propaganda than it is to easily refute Republican propaganda. So yes, I would have to try, because conservative commentary honestly just revolves mostly around the personal self-panic, hysteria induced by just believing things that are simply untrue, like immigrants are invading the country with military-aged men, or that like Latin American countries are like opening up their mental asylums and like dumping they're like criminally insane into the United States of America. That sort of thing. Like that's just not real. 1 year ago, that guy believed Bolsonaro was taking Lula to The Hague for corruption, by the way. Yeah, that was awesome. Anyway, this is pretty crazy. Which people do you think don't deserve to live? I think everyone deserves to live. Controversial take. I know. I'm going to come out of the gate swinging with that one. Apologies for those who are naysayers, but I'm a firm believer that everybody deserves to live, and not just live, but like thrive. I'm a firm believer that everyone deserves the best possible life they can get. Yes, that includes hogs. That includes everybody. Anyway, yeah, that is what I believe. Okay, let's get to the news.
That's where we're going to begin. Not with
even landlords? Yes, even landlords.
the president tying his shoes, but with that very big press conference today.
Like, I don't think people understand. You talk about a lot of people who are like evil in the chat, right? You're like bringing up evil people. Yeah, they deserve to live and they deserve to thrive. That doesn't mean they deserve to do harm to others, okay? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't mean that if you're like a person who has committed, grave injustices against broad subsects of the population, like you get away scot-free. I still think that like there should be some punitive measures, maybe some kind of rehabilitation process. Liberals call it rehabilitation. When I call it re-education, people get very scared. But like ultimately, that is what I believe, right? I believe in rehabilitation and obviously like removing these people from their proximity to power. But ultimately, they still deserve to live their best possible lives. Because at the end of the day, I do not believe that someone is like purely an evil being, but simply a product of their material conditions, their environment. I'm a firm believer too. I just hope hateful people have that sense too. Aw, why'd you ban that guy? Or did he just get clapped because he was just spamming? Oh, he was. You're a has-been. What was? Past your prime. Yet you push forward sometimes. Yes. I'm glad that you came in with that recognition, though. That is kind of what being a leftist is all about. Okay? It is. It's poetic, and it's also true. Okay? You cannot rehabilitate a Nazi brother. Yeah, you can. And you should never stop with your commitment to trying. Giving up is silly on that front. But, yeah, as I was saying, you're right. Being a leftist, that's crazy. That's crazy. She thought she could get away with that. She thought she ate there. Anyway, against life sentences or the death penalty? Yes, I'm against both. Okay, why are we talking about all this? Let's get to Brandon.
For President Biden, he has a lot to prove, and it may be an impossible.
Oh my God, I locked this. Oh my God, I called this yesterday. Oh my God. Oh my God. Scoop. Barack Obama and George Clooney were in touch before the actor wrote his brutal op-ed suggesting Biden was a diminished man who should step aside from the presidency. Obama did not encourage or advise him in the op-ed, but he did not try to dissuade him either. I told you. I said yesterday, George Jebediah Clooney is besties with Obama. Okay? Did I not tell you this? I said this man writing this op-ed is damning, and not just because he's like a very important lifelong Democrat and a committed like fundraiser who unrose $14.5 million in one night for Brandon a month or 2 weeks before he wrote this op-ed on the New York Times demanding he drop out, but he's also besties with Obama. I told you this. I said he's on a first name basis. He knows what Obama's last name is. George Clooney knows Obama's last name. George Clooney has Obama's phone number. Kaya, get back on their place. I told you this. They hang out, okay? They text each other. George Clooney posting this is like, he hit up Obama before he did that. And it's going to cause the Biden campaign to basically turn around and do this, which is on the docket. Don't worry, I have it right here. Regarding the growing criticism of Biden, the Clooney op-ed, etc., Morning Joe says,
Say one thing that we do have to underline here, just so viewers can follow what's going on behind the scenes, is the Biden campaign and many Democratic officials do believe that Barack Obama is quietly working behind the scenes to orchestrate this. I'll say one thing that
it's messed up, man.
Joe Biden is, and this.
Hold on. There we got more. Despite repeated White House denials of any Obama-Biden tension in the public bromance displays, Biden's friend Joe Scarborough says,
and this is the reality, Jonathan O'Meara, Joe Biden is deeply resentful of his treatment under not only the Obama staff, but also the way he was pushed aside for Hillary Clinton. He's deeply...
Another Hasanabi lock. This is something that I've also said verbatim. And unlike Joe, I'm not, unlike Scarborough, I'm not besties with Joe Biden. But I told you this too. I told you this shit as well. I told you. There's a knife fight. You have the Clintonites and you have the Obama coalition inside of the Democratic Party. They've always been at odds with one another, obviously. They've always had tension. Obama won that tension, but Obama basically is the reason why Joe Biden didn't run in 2016. Joe Biden never forgave him for that because Hillary Clinton lost to Donald Trump. Obama then told all the other establishment Dems to step aside to make way for Joe Biden in 2020 to make up for that problem, even though that was also a miscalculation because Joe Brandon was too old in 2020. And now Obama can't do shit. Now, because he's a fucking coward and an annoying coward who only cares about clout, who only cares about Hollywood shit, he's just sitting aside on the sidelines and he's watching democracy fall apart. Okay? But having said that, that resentment has carried on. Joe Brandon is very upset with everybody else in the Democratic Party. He thinks that everybody in the Democratic Party is consistently undermining him, and that spite is what is keeping him in this position.
Resentful of those trying to shove him out of the way. He's always felt like an outsider, always felt like people have looked down upon.
Yeah, dude, I know. The outsider... The perennial outsider Joe Biden, who has been in office for 40 years, dude, for 50 years, who's been the vice president for 8, who's been the president for 4, classic outsider, okay? When I think of an outsider, I think of a guy who's, been a career politician. Bro, there's construction going on today, and they've gone crazy mode today. This is the first time I'm feeling like a NIMBY. Normally, I love construction. I'm like, great, build more housing. It's great. I'm a big fan. But today, they're going nutty mode. I don't know if you guys can pick it up on the microphone at all, but it feels like they're banging on drums outside of my window. It's the first time. It's crazy, right? It's so fucking loud. Like, I've never, because like they've always had construction, but I've never heard it this loud ever. Anyway, well, it just stopped. They heard me. They were like, yo, my bad. Yeah. Oh my God. It literally stopped. What the fuck? No sound for us. Is AC working? My noise gate is crazy. Anyway.
On him. And that's why I said at the top of the show, and this is.
Construction workers probably love the Hasanabi broadcast. I doubt it. These are the two White House denials to me in just the past few months. The Biden and Obama families are like family to one another, and whomever made these claims about the relationship isn't familiar with it. As President Biden has said, President Obama is family to him. A lot of the current resentment and tension is coming from the Biden side, not the Obama one. 2015 hangover, legacy competition, etc. Here's my story from this March. President Biden doesn't speak frequently with Barack Obama, but behind closed doors, he talks about him a lot. Biden often measures himself against the man he served as vice president, current and former aides say. I get to tune in for 2.5 minutes in between meetings, Pog. We got Biden cabinet leaks. The last full cabinet meeting took place on October 2nd, 2023. One cabinet secretary tells CNN they are uncertain of Biden's condition because they so rarely see him. Oh, it's a knife fight. Oh, dude. Oh, my God. Oh, my Lord. This is not. Oh, my God. They haven't had a full cabinet meeting since October 7th. Okay, Kaya. Okay. Baby. Do you still think Biden will be the nominee? I don't know. I mean, I can't make this prediction, chat. I'm sorry. I genuinely don't know. I genuinely don't know. Like, everyone in the party is basically screaming for him to drop out. Like, and every sign is signaling that this is a person whose mental faculties have unironically diminished, okay, in an unavoidable fashion, unlike the top of the hour, which you can avoid by subscribing for $6 now, as of today, inflation, Joe Brandon's economy, Joe Brandon's America, or for free with a Twitch Prime. Twitch Prime is still free. That's right. You can also get gifted a sub if you're lucky. He will still be the nominee. The polls are turning in his favor, even in swing states. AOC was low-key right in that this matter is closed. Wait, what? The polls are turning in his favor? What are you talking about? Do you mean the polls are turning in Trump's favor? Like, what bro, check them. Have you seen any of the internal Democratic polling? He was down and now it's tied? What? Okay, please post the polls and, or the article that you read that gave you this cope. Not a Biden fan at all. I mean, this is the 538 aggregate, and this is like June 17th. They're pretty close. And then there's like a brief blip where Biden ekes out the edge. And then ever since then, Trump has just been trailing ahead. Where are you getting this from? I have not seen. I mean, maybe there's one poll. Maybe there's one poll that shows them tied or something. But every single poll I've seen, literally, whether it's individual polls, whether it's leaked internal polls, which are, in my opinion, more significant, because like that is what the Democratic Party is looking at when they're making those decisions. I don't know. It's just every single poll I've seen is showing them getting like absolutely destroyed. Having said that, I have mentioned in between the coverage, the seemingly endless coverage of the mania surrounding Joe Biden dropping out, I have said time and time again, it's still a close race. And while these polls represent a trend in the negative direction, it's still a close race. The problem is it's not supposed to be a close race because Trump is a uniquely and historically bad re-election candidate. Do you understand? You're part of the endless coverage talking about Brandon dropping out, homie, lol. Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't I? I've been saying Joe Biden is bad for the Democratic Party, not just like bad across the board, not just bad from, where I'm standing, like my own personal convictions, my own morals, but just bad for the Democratic Party in general since 2019. So yeah, why would I cease to cover it all of a sudden? Why would I just be like, hey, now that the media is playing fucking catch up after they basically hid this truth for 4 fucking years or didn't acknowledge it or refused to acknowledge it and even literally bullied people that even brought it up and claimed that they were being fucking ableist and that it was just simply a stutter in 2019 as his mental faculties decayed over and over in broad daylight in more apparent ways until 50 million people watched his brain matter leak out of his goddamn ear on that debate stage, and it became this completely unavoidable reality that the media had to address. Why would I stop covering it then? Yeah, I'm not being a great chatter. Should have communicated better. I'm saying that they are reported as tied. Ipsos poll on MSNBC and crap. Not a Biden cope. I'm saying they're pushing him through, it seems, by hyper-focusing on tied polls. No, that's ridiculous. Because a lot of the battleground state polling has moved away from leaning Dem to being a toss-up, or being a toss-up to leaning Republican. Like, it's not, what you're saying is incorrect. And it makes total sense. It's not just his mental faculties. It's your fault, not on the front page of the New York Times. Yeah, I know. Some Biden advisors are discussing how to persuade him to step aside. Biden's campaign quietly tests Harris's chances versus Trump. In interviews over the past 2 years, President Biden has been asked nearly identical questions pre-screened by his staff. Should President Biden step aside or stay in? Here's what some prominent Democrats have said. I mean, you're delusional if you think that it's like, I'm doing this, you know? Aya, place. Come on. Go. Place. Do polls even matter? Yes, dude. Of course polls matter. What are we talking about? Anyway, yeah, I'm not gonna stop covering this issue, which is an issue that I have talked about for 4 years now. Aya, place. Good girl. I've seen the most deranged brain rot from Biden dead enders on Twitter the past few days. Yeah, what's really funny about it is that they will all be just as excited, if not more excited, about any other person running. The Biden dead enders currently are just, I don't know, they just have some sense of loyalty to Brandon. And that is, I think, part of the reason why they're advocating. And maybe there's a level of fear that a last second switch up is going to cause the Democratic Party's chances to fall apart or something, right? I think that's basically where it's coming from. But all of those guys that are Biden dead enders right now, they're not Biden or busters, because there's no there's no ideological fissure, there's no contradiction, there's no division between Biden and Kamala Harris. Those people are openly recognizing that they're voting for this cadaver and demonstrating their party loyalty because they'll vote for whoever isn't Trump. But a lot of other people don't work that way. And these guys don't understand it for some reason. Okay? They've been so primed and so conditioned from years and years and years of watching MSNBC, I think, that they just are just going, vote blue no matter who, shut the fuck up. And you have to vote for Biden. And it's like, dude, there's still time to swap them out. I guess there's some fear that there would be a little bit of panic and confusion and chaos if this swap didn't happen swiftly. And that's a valid concern to have, but that's still on Biden. If Biden truly cared about the future of the Democratic Party and the future of democracy, right? If they genuinely believe that democracy is on the ballot, then Biden would swiftly step aside and do everything in his power to ensure that the replacement goes perfectly well, instead of slamming his feet onto the ground and saying, no, I'm stubborn, I'm staying here, I'm going to be here, I am not going to leave. I guess. All right, peace, boys. Also, for the record, this is a pretty good indication that the Republicans also recognize who's a better candidate to run against. Donald Trump fires back at George Clooney over Biden op-ed. He should get out of politics and go back to TV. Movies never really worked out. They don't want Biden to leave either, because they also recognize that, they're probably running their own polls against potential Democratic candidates, Democratic hopefuls, and what that looks like against Donald Trump, who is, like I said, a historically bad candidate. This is why I jokingly said there's a really funny reality where Democrats do 25th Amendment, or was it 22nd? It's the 25th Amendment, right? When you Yeah, the 25th Amendment, and then the Republicans try and block it. Yeah, 25th. I joked about it, but like sometimes the things I joke about turn out to be a reality. Why is he a historically bad candidate? Oh, that's very simple. One, Americans really care about felony convictions. Americans are super draconian in their understanding of criminal justice. They literally are institution defenders. They're like, oh, you're a criminal, it's over. That's number one. Number two, Donald Trump is literally a genuinely incompetent person and a genuinely chaotic person. A lot of people still, despite their amnesia, remember the 4 years of Donald Trump and how they felt during that process and how that motivated them to vote for a cadaver the first time. Okay? So there's that. A lot of Americans care about civility. Donald Trump is very uncivil. Okay? Beyond that, so Joe Biden is that bad? He even now loses the polls? Yes, that is precisely the point I'm making. Thank you. That is exactly what I've been trying to explain to people, is that Donald Trump is a historically bad candidate. That's why the calls for Donald Trump to drop out from liberals who are trying to, hysterically defend Biden is so funny. It's like, yeah, drop out and what, put a better candidate in his place? That's ridiculous. So ultimately, I think they recognize that Joe Biden is probably the best person to run against if you're a Republican, because he's very old. And that's a really, that's a really good way to also kind of neutralize Trump's age a little bit, because Trump looks significantly more coherent when next to Joe Biden, regardless of how many, David Pacman or Brian Tyler Cohen or, Midas Touch videos are out there about like Trump flubbing, because he flubs and he fibs. He flubs and he fibs. Okay. He is the covfefe man for sure. Donald Trump is. He definitely has his moments as well, but it just doesn't matter. That doesn't get past anyone. That doesn't actually get people to pay attention to what he's saying. That doesn't really pass the smell test. People don't think like, oh yeah, when I'm looking at Joe Biden and I'm looking at Donald Trump, as 50 million people did in that debate stage, they can obviously tell that one person, Joe Biden, is in a significantly worse shape than Donald Trump. Trump's base doesn't care when he flubs, but all Biden voters freak the fuck out. That's not entirely correct either. What about the post-Dobbs bump? Yeah, that's another clear indication of Brandon's failure as a person running for re-election with the incumbent advantage. Do you not see that? We are living in the, Republicans are the anti-abortion party era, and yet Donald Trump is still winning. That's crazy. That is a genuine cause for concern. And yet people don't see it for some reason. Well, I think they do. They're just fearful. If I'm being as charitable as I possibly can be to the Democrats who are, Brandon dead enders at this point, who will, of course, very excitedly vote for whoever, if Brandon is replaced, whoever's replacing him, they'll get super stoked on that. But for the time being, they just don't want to rock the boat. I don't think, they're not Biden or busters is what I'm saying. So we see it as on. I'm not a dead ender, but who else with name recognition? I think that the name recognition conversation can be solved easily with the massive flow of cash and the marketing. Like, that's not a big issue. That is, if anything, an advantage. Lack of name recognition in this circumstance legitimately helps the Democratic Party. Why? Because, and I'm not talking about an outsider, I'm talking about an insider, just with not enough name recognition. Why does it help the Democrats? Because the Democratic Party's policies are popular. The Democratic Party, for the first time in a very long time, is more popular than the Republican Party. Generic Democrats and down ballot Democrats, until this Brandon stink, were outperforming Joe Biden by sometimes 10 points in the same key states that Biden has to win. And that is because the Republican Party is very unpopular. I mean, almost a year ago, there was a New York Times poll that showed a generic Democrat, no name, just generic Democrat, was outperforming Biden by 18 points. So at this stage, a lack of a lack of name recognition simply just means that's the admin person. That's the administrative candidate. You don't think it's too late then? No, of course I don't. No, absolutely not. I'm a Biden or buster. If Biden drops out, I will bust. Yeah. There are obvious issues with whoever they put in Biden's place. The easiest swap out is, of course, going to be the easiest swap out would be Kamala Harris, of course. There are issues with Kamala Harris. She is also deeply uncharismatic and kind of incompetent, if we're being very real. The issue there would be, for Kamala Harris at least, the issue there would be that they could also make the argument that, like, well, she was the vice president. She knew, and she hid the secret from the Americans that the president was, like, mentally incapable. But ultimately, I think, you know, regardless of that angle, I think that she could, with a competent team, get over that hump. The one instinct that she has had, that I have noticed that I thought was good was, for the past couple of months, she has been far more aggressive in calling for a ceasefire than the president. She has literally openly outflanked the president and also outflanked the president on leaks from her internal staffers that she, like, will, you know, go and tell Politico, like, Kamala Harris behind closed doors is saying she wants a ceasefire now. Like, that kind of stuff is good. That means, like, there is at least someone around her that has smart instincts, good political instincts, that, you know, even if Biden wasn't to drop out, shows that, like, oh, this administration is actually at odds a little bit when it comes to Gaza. Like, see, you know, the youth, maybe they could be with Kamala Harris if they're not with Joe Biden. Can't wait until Trump wins so that he purges America of commies and forces folks like you to emigrate to commie China, bitch. Kamala is Jew. She will side with Jew in the end. This is so, I mean, you're a Nazi, but I'm trying to also make sense of, like, your opinions, regardless of your like Nazi perspective. And it's just so strange to me because, like, can't wait until Trump wins so that he purges America of commies and forces folks like you to emigrate to commie China, bitch. First of all, that's awesome. Okay. But having said that, what do you mean Kamala is Jew? She will side with Jew in the end. Anyway, Donald Trump, like, the funniest part about these Nazis, her husband is Jewish. Yeah, I know. Douglas Emhoff is dummy. What does that have to do with anything? Like, what do you mean? Oh, man, Kamala Harris's husband is Jewish. Who cares? Calling me a dummy. Oh, okay. What does that mean, I wonder? Let's think. Well, Hassan, don't you know? Jews have only loyalty to Israel. Classic. Which is really funny to say that when you're also simultaneously pro-Trump, who in his 15-point plan literally made one of the 15 points, 1/15 of his agenda is deporting people who are mean to Israel. Nazis are so funny when they're like, yeah, I love Donald Trump. He's going to put America first. And also, if you're mean to Israel, he will deport you. Trump is the only guy who has been more pro-Israel than Biden, okay? The only reason why you don't recognize that probably is because Biden is currently president and he's doing a genocide. And a lot of people forget that, like, Trump's policies greatly pushed Israel's most reactionary components, most reactionary elements. Why do you call everyone you don't like a Nazi? This person thinks that Kamala Harris's Jewish husband somehow means something. Like, it just means that, like, Kamala Harris's husband is Jewish, so she's, like, gonna be unconditionally pro-Israel at a time when I was literally talking about how Kamala Harris has been advocating for a ceasefire publicly and also privately, or at least leaking that she's privately advocating for a ceasefire, flanking Biden on that front. So the idea that isolated case. Yeah, I think if you think that, like, someone being Jewish automatically implies that they have, like, dual loyalty to Israel, like, I'm going to suspect that you're a Nazi. And even you recognize that. So why are you fucking chirping? Take an hour off. You take a full day off. Or not a full day. You get a permaban. Dumbass Canadian Nazi. That's good, right? Kamala's Jew husband will bring his money magic to the Democratic admin. I'm Korean, by the way. No. Okay. Bro, this motherfucker wasn't offended when you called him a Nazi, but dummy is what got under his skin. Yeah. Silencing political opponents. Casual liberal. Yes. We have great name Nazis again. The election season is so back. No, I know. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I love political discourse. We are back in a big way. When the hogs start coming back, nature is unironically healing. Like, I get so excited. I thought you said Nazis are redeemable. No, I said Nazis need to be rehabilitated and re-educated. Having said that, however, that doesn't mean they can just like keep chirping and make this a less safe space or muck up the discourse that we're trying to do here. Like, what do you mean? Yeah, that doesn't mean people think like, oh, rehabilitation means like you get to just still chirp like a Nazi. No, I like that. That's like very 2016 era discourse though. Why can't we allow Nazis to have a seat at the table? Oh, what's the course of action Democrats should take if Biden decides now or in the coming days to drop out? I mean, immediately look for a VP for Kamala Harris. Anyway, okay, let's continue. Biden to hold news conference amid doubt over his reelection campaign. Let's get
That's
started.
where we're going to begin, not with the president tying his shoes, but with that very big press conference today for President Biden. He has a lot to prove, and it may be an impossible task. Doubters are wondering if he's up for this job. He's got a news conference later today that'll be his first solo appearance before the American press in months. And it comes as close allies, including actor and donor George Clooney, say it's time for him to drop this re-election campaign and allow another candidate to step forward. Nancy Cordes is at the White House. She is following all this. There is no oxygen for anything else this morning. Nancy, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Tony. You know, the president has not had much time to prep for this first solo press conference since last November. He's been hosting.
Dude, I think gray names that come in here to say stuff like, oh, Goyim, like they write stuff like, oh, Democrats and Republicans like both would sacrifice Goyim for Israel. Like when you say stuff like that, do you think anyone reads that and goes, oh, that's a cool guy? Like, you should be really fucking embarrassed to type shit like that out. Because as soon as I see you writing like 4chan green text like that, I assume you're the most 45-year-old, permanently single, living in the mommy's basement, constantly online IT specialist guy that I've ever encountered. Like, you are the epic narwhal bacons at midnight version of Nazism. You know what I mean? Like, you look down upon the 9gag boomers and the epic Reddit people, but you basically are the same person, but for Nazi shit. You know what I mean? It's just so sad. It's like the one group of people that's more sad than the fucking 9gag guys who are like, oh, I'm soy facing about my epic Funko Pop collection. Like, you think you're above that, but you were literally doing that.
Hosting the NATO summit here in Washington, D.C. But even as he holds talks with foreign allies, some of his domestic allies are putting more pressure on him to rethink his decision to stay in the race.
May we continue to grow stronger and closer in all the years ahead.
President Biden unscripted yesterday in some of his favorite settings, interacting with world leaders and union leaders.
The middle class built this country. You built the middle class.
But he was dealt a new blow midday from lifelong Democrat and movie star George Clooney, who just hosted a $30 million fundraiser for Biden last month. In an op-ed, Clooney wrote, quote, "The Joe Biden I was with 3 weeks ago wasn't even the Joe Biden of 2020. He was the same man we all witnessed at the debate." Clooney wasn't the only one signaling fresh doubts. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was asked if she still supports Biden's bid.
It's up to the president to decide if he is going to run. We're all encouraging him to make that decision because time.
Then why didn't he say that before? I mean, he saw it, he was worried about it, and then he fucking turned around and said it after everyone saw it. Like, I think if George Clooney came out right after that interaction and wrote an op-ed, it wouldn't be as powerful as writing it after 50 million people saw it.
Is running short.
The problem? Biden has already announced his decision to stay in the race.
Well, let me say this as clearly as I can. I'm staying in the race.
Virginia Senator Tim Kaine sounded a lot like Pelosi.
I have complete confidence that Joe Biden will do the patriotic thing for the country, and he's going to make that decision. He's never disappointed me.
Yeah, except he has made that decision. And it's so funny that, like, even the likes of Tim Kaine in the membrane, Tim Kaine in the brain, are just coping and basically trying to say, like, no, he's going to make a decision, I promise. It's like, but he has. Why do you keep saying he's going to make a different decision? It's because they don't want to say, you know, he needs to drop out. Like, they don't want to say openly that he needs to drop out immediately.
Late yesterday, Vermont's Peter Welch became the first Democratic senator to call on Biden to withdraw. Regular Vermonters are worried that he can't win this time, he wrote, and they're terrified of another Trump presidency. A trio of top Biden advisors is heading to the Hill today to try to reassure Senate Democrats. And CBS News has learned that House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries plans to convey the concerns of his members directly to the president.
We're continuing to have conversations with each other, and those have been candid, comprehensive, and clear.
I think people also, are also discounting, because you're in this community, you're probably discounting like how little people pay attention to politics in general, or how little people know, or how much people only focus on whatever the narrative is in the media. Even those who are in proximity to power are still watching like MSNBC and CNN and whatnot. And if MSNBC and CNN isn't constantly pushing the Biden is actually kind of old, isn't he, button, right? Like, if you're George Clooney, you probably are not super familiar with Biden's mental faculties diminishing, right? I think you forget how much you probably take for granted, like how much I've covered this for the past 4 years, how much Michael from Pennsylvania has covered this for the past 4 years, how much maybe even Majority Report or like Chapo, all of these other like independent outlets have like obviously seen and have like hammered that point over and over again. So you think like, oh, everybody understands it, and they're just like totally hiding the truth. Like, no, I do legitimately think that a lot of people are shocked. Oh, TYT as well. Thank you, Brooke. You're right. I can't believe I forgot Jank, who is like the most vindicated man in America. He literally was like, I'm running for president. I know I'm not going to win. It doesn't matter. I'm trying to, you know, get Democrats to do the right thing. Did you ever figure out why Uba blocked you? Yeah, I did. It was because he had a blue check mark auto blocker. Not the people closest to him that have been actively hiding it. Yeah. And I think that leaks such as we haven't had a full cabinet meeting since October 2nd is also another indication that like his closest, most loyal allies have been sheltering him, not just from the public eye, because that's like, you can say that like that is Hawaiian shirt. Seriously? Yes. What is there an issue with that? You could say like, oh, they're just doing that because they want to improve his reelection chances like they did in fucking 2020, right? Like they wheeled him out every now and then. All right. He was in the basement. That was like the meme. But this time it's even worse than that. I think they're also sheltering him from like, I think they're also basically sheltering him from like staffers and other members of his own cabinet. Does that make sense? So that's what is going on. What is this? You called it. Prominent Democrats interviewed by CNN blame the president's inner circle for keeping. Yep, there you go. Keeping Biden away from unscripted settings and hiding his decline. Back in Washington, there have been clear signs throughout his term of the president being increasingly stage managed with lists of talking points, names of questioners, and drawings of where he should walk presented to him by aides. Ahead of closed-door cabinet meetings that Biden attends, it is customary for cabinet officials to submit questions and key talking points that they plan to present in front of Biden ahead of time to White House aides. Two sources with direct knowledge told CNN. The entire display is kind of an act. One of those sources told CNN they would come and say, hey, the president is going to call on you in about 25 minutes and ask this question. What are the bullet points you'll respond with? A second source who echoed that same description said when Biden attends cabinet meetings, they are not freewheeling and pretty well orchestrated. And the meetings themselves are infrequent, with one cabinet secretary telling CNN they are uncertain of Biden's condition because they so rarely see him. The last full cabinet meeting took place on October 2nd, 2023, 5 days before October 7th. They have not had a full cabinet meeting since October 2nd, 2023. Because the more cabinet meetings you have, full cabinet meetings you have, the more staffers you are in front of. The more staffers you are in front of, or the more like administration members you are in front of, the more people talk. So they're trying to keep it as airtight as possible, it seems. They're running the 2019-2020 strategy, but this time internally. Which is why seemingly his entire staff is speaking to journalists anonymously to ring the alarms. Lol. Yes. Explains to him saying he saw the 40 babies. I mean, that kind of stuff was also pretty insane. I brought that shit up post October 7. Biden would just come out in front of the press and be like, I saw 40 beheaded babies. And it was like, no one saw it. And his staffers would be like, we don't know where he got this from. He did not see 40 beheaded babies, right? Like, he would say shit like that. And I was like, he's crazy. He's out of his mind. He literally came out and was like, I don't believe that Hamas run health ministry numbers. Incredibly damaging to have a person running the show and having the bully pulpit when that person's mental faculties have declined. Because when the president says something, the president of the United States of America says something, that actually changes discourse. That changes the narrative. That changes the way people see things. You complain about him a lot, but offer no solutions. This is also the classic cope because, yes, I have offered solutions. It's called step the fuck aside. What do you mean? Like, this is classic copium from liberals who are, again, hysterically pointing at things and trying. Kamala Harris, it doesn't matter. It's just when I do offer solutions, you don't like the solutions that I'm offering. So you just say, no one is voting for her? Really? So you like Joseph Robinette Biden and you want to vote for him, but you're not going to vote for Kamala Harris. Is that what you're saying? Are you telling me right now that you are willing to vote for Joe Biden, but not Kamala Harris, who's the vice president of Joe Biden, by the way, which literally means that you voted for Kamala Harris automatically and are defending Kamala Harris by default, considering that the vice president's job is literally to step in and be the president if the president dies? So, like, you obviously already have voted for Kamala Harris, and you will vote for Kamala Harris again. No, I am saying that I want someone other than a Dem or a Republican. What? Okay, you're just delusional. Okay. What are they doing? Oh, this is from 2020. It looks like conservatives in the 1980s were right. We did all become goth socialists. They were just wrong about how it's actually extremely good. My face when I see Trump saying we're doing better on COVID-19 than anyone else. Europe much? Listening to third-party voters. Me looking at Kamala like, okay, mama, I see you. I'm feeling you. I'm voting for you, baby. That's back in 2020, baby. You offer no real solutions. Also, here's my completely unrealistic solutions. Yeah, no, that was awesome. That guy that said, I'm being unrealistic. That guy that said, I'm being unrealistic, just, you know, his position was, yeah, let's just have like some random guy, not a Republican or a Democrat. You're right, chatter. Let's do that. I, too, want to completely rewrite the, you know, pretty calcified American political duopoly by just simply willing it to happen. Anyway, you're being unrealistic. Let's abolish the two-party system that has plagued our country for the last century. Yeah, I hate being unrealistic and not being a fucking based two-party abolisher. Why don't we just like destroy the Supreme Court and the Electoral College while we're at it? You know what I mean? You think I'm against that sort of thing? No, of course not. But if we're having like serious political commentary time, well, then it's a little bit different, don't you think? It's a little hard to wish cast the abolition of American bourgeois democracy. Let's continue.
All right.
A new national poll out this morning shows the race essentially unchanged from before the debate. And Biden aides insist that's what their internal polling shows as well, that Biden is still trailing slightly, but that the bottom has not fallen out the way that nervous Democrats fear it has. Tony?
That's sick, man. No, that's great. No, it's fine. You don't understand. It's not as bad as you think it is. I promise.
We have some breaking news of another Democrat joining the call for President Biden to step away from the race. That's correct. Forgive me for looking down. I'm reading the article that just dropped. So in the Detroit News, obviously her local paper, West Michigan Democratic Congresswoman Hillary Schulten has now called on President Biden to step aside. That puts our current number at least 10. I'm also looking at a very critical tweet of President Biden from Congressman Richie Torres, who has kind of gone back and forth as to whether or not he believes the president should step aside. I don't necessarily see in this tweet that he calls on Biden to step aside, so I think Schulten is our latest. But point being is we do have a little bit of breaking news. We have one more House Democrat, at least one more House Democrat, who has now called on President Biden to step aside. So the total number is now 10 House Democrats at least, and then, of course, one senator who have now called on Biden to no longer be the Democratic nominee, Diane.
Mary Alice, how is the White House responding to this? Any sense of the conversations behind closed doors? How does the president recover from this, even if he is insistent on staying in the race?
For days, the White House and the campaign sort of worked hard to belittle and sort of downplay these sort of defections in the Democratic Party. They went as far, the campaign went as far as to sort of mock some of these House members as sort of no names and low ranking. That, of course, is getting harder with every additional one. You know, Michigan obviously stands out to me. The fact that that Congresswoman is from Michigan. Michigan is a must-win state for President Biden. And the reality is we have seen these concerns from members across the country and really across sort of the spectrum of the Democratic Party, some that are from safe seats, some that are from much more vulnerable seats. So it tells me that it's not just one type of Democrat, not just one sort of political predicament that is leading people to sort of make this call, make this judgment call. And of course, that's why it was such a big deal overnight when we saw the first U.S. senator to come out and also say that he thought the president should step aside. Obviously, the president was a senator for so long. He considers the Senate sort of his home, his stomping ground, his close colleagues. But also, obviously, each of those senators brings with them more gravitas, more of a role in fundraising for the party, running their own state Democratic parties. So if this trickle becomes a flood, that will continue to be something this White House will not be able to avoid.
All right, Mary Alice Parks, Jay O'Brien, Catherine Falders, thank you.
To keep talking about this, we're joined now by Chief Washington Correspondent Major Garrett. Major, good morning to you. You know, this George Clooney op-ed, I think the reason it's so damaging and worrying for the White House is we've all asked different members of the administration, what's the president like behind closed doors? And they say, oh, he's wonderful. Now you have George Clooney say, actually, no. And then you have a senator in Peter Welch saying it's time for him to go. Do you expect more defections from lawmakers in the party?
Tony, the short answer is yes. I was told by a senior member of the House Democratic Caucus last night that more and more members will come out today, followed by more and more members, Senate and House members, on Friday, that many had been waiting for the NATO summit to end, not wanting to appear to do anything to undercut.
Yeah, here's why. By the way, it's such a laughable, again, it's such a baby thing, but here's a scoop from Politico senior Washington correspondent Rachel Bade. Speaker Pelosi has been advising frontline members to voice their district and do what they need to do for re-election, even if it means calling on Biden to step aside. Her one request, wait until NATO concludes out of respect for the office and Biden. It's literally like, it's like giving your dog that is about to die chocolate. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I'm going to give him all of his favorite treats, all of his fucking favorite toys, and then we're going to put him down. Like, NATO is his thing. Let him do his thing. Let him play the role of an elder statesman one last time. And then we're going to put him down. We're going to put him out to pasture, which is crazy. For other safe seat members, yeah, that's a really dark thing to explain to you guys, especially because I've literally done that to fish. It's very sad. But that is what's going on with the president. For other safe seat members, she's encouraging them to take their desire for him to step aside straight to the White House or campaign to minimize party infighting. Lowly says Fish. Yeah, Fish was my former dog that passed away, my pit bull. For her part, Pelosi has told some people that Biden won't win and should step aside. Hey, come here. Come here. Here. Hello. Hello, baby. Come here. No. She's mad at me because I'm trapping her in here today because I feel like the Aussie boys have spoiled her silly. Ma'am. Hello. What is this? Anyway. ABC's reporting that guests of the White House noticed Biden's decline back in June before the debates. Yeah. Now, 2 out of the 3 Arizona Dem House members have now called Biden to step down. Yes, so that's what I was going to mention. Reports are coming in, but the reason why reports are coming in now, and there are more people coming out, is because of the Nancy Pelosi thing that I just showed you. Okay? Representative Ed Case of Hawaii becomes the 12th congressional Democrat to call for President Biden to exit the race. Greg Stanton of Arizona also calls for Biden to step aside as the candidate. There it is. History is unfolding in front of our eyes, ladies and gentlemen, and who knows what the Brandon administration will do. A PAC was created to help Dems that have come out early against/criticizing Biden committed $2 million. A source told me a group of New York donors have committed $2 million to HMP, the House Dem Super PAC, to help Dems who came out early against/criticizing Biden. Angie Craig, Mary Glusenkamp Perez, Jared Golden, and Pat Ryan. Donors include Novo Gratz, Nancy and Andrew Jarecki, Gideon and Zoe Stein, and 30 plus other donors. Now, that's really interesting for those of you who maybe are not familiar with some of these people, but these are the problem solvers caucus, as in the most centrist, probably some of the worst members of the Democratic Party. Like, I hate them. Okay? The reason why they are doing this is partially because they're in contested seats. Okay? Why are people saying Gideon? Oh, because I said Gideon and Zoe Stein. Anyway, these are the people who are establishment Democrats through and through. Okay? That's why the progressives in the Democratic Party are staying away and letting the establishment Democrats run the table with their criticism, because this is their thing. Okay, let's continue.
American president at a time of deliberations with allies, both in Europe and in Asia. But that time is passing very soon. I asked this member of Congress, well, what about the president's press conference today? He said it's not going to make any difference, at least not on the upside. Most members have come to the conclusion, he told me, that it is time for the president to step aside. That does not mean that's what's going to happen, but there will be more and more calls and more public pressure from elected Democrats in the House and Senate for him to do just that.
And Major, now we are learning that CBS News has learned that Biden aides are now making calls to delegates now. Is there an avenue even that delegates may defect ahead of the convention in August?
There is an avenue, but it is a narrow one, Natalie. Democratic National Committee rules do not require delegates to vote for President Biden for renomination. That's something that they changed after 1980. 1980 was the last time a Democratic convention was controlled by a delegate to nominee rule. You were bound to do that. Now the only Democratic National Committee rule is that you are supposed to reflect in good conscience the outcome of your state's caucus or primary. That aligns all these delegates very closely with President Biden. And delegates will decide the nomination process, not members of Congress. That's why the Biden campaign has been spending a lot more time calling those delegates, trying to nail down those commitments, and spending less time, let us say, having conversations and hand-holding sessions with members of the House and Senate. This will be determined by delegates. Now, if many members of Congress and even leadership of Congress on the Democratic side say, Mr. President, you've got to step aside, that could send a very strong signal to delegates in Chicago. They've got to go another way. But this is still very much in the president's side of the issue. He has the delegates, he's won the primaries, he's won the caucuses, and unless he decides to step aside.
Is there a reason a criminal isn't seeing such discussions of removal? Well, if you're a liberal, you should be celebrating that, I think. Considering that, like I mentioned time and time again today, I like PSL, then, go Claudia. Okay, got it. Oh yeah, I forgot. It's They Tuesday. The prominent PSL chirper in the chat.
It will be very difficult.
But yeah, the reason why they're not talking about it is because Donald Trump actually has a base of support and actually has Trump dead-enders who will not vote for someone else. Biden, on the other hand, does not have that. The Republican Party tried to knife Trump beforehand in the primary, and it didn't work. partially because they put DeSantis up, and nobody wanted that. So Biden's New York Post, Biden's high stakes big boy press conference delayed, so it might miss evening news broadcast. Wait, they delayed the press conference? If he's pushed out via delegates, that's much more damaging than having an open discussion over the next month, right? How is it good to discuss using the delegate option? The delegate option is the nuclear option. That's the problem. Oh, it's by an hour? So it's at 6:30. Okay. So it's still at 6:30. Got it. So the delegate option is the nuclear option. You understand? The best possible option is to have him step aside. The Democrats posted BRB making this our phone background. Oh, Jesus. They're saying Mamala. It was supposed to be at 5 p.m. EST, and it moved up to 6:30 EST, which is 3:30 PST. So we'll be hearing from Brandoni in his big boy press conference in a couple hours. I love the gray name in the chat who is currently defending RFK Jr., holding on for dear life. Here, let's see what Mamala had to say recently.
We simply know we cannot count on Donald Trump to help keep America and Americans safe, not here at home and not on the world stage. And yes, I am also talking then about national security. This week, our president, Joe Biden, is hosting more than 30 global leaders in Washington, D.C. for the NATO summit. Now, NATO is the greatest military alliance the world has ever known. And thanks to our president, Joe Biden, if there is one single person who deserves credit in the world for strengthening NATO, making it stronger, making it more united and...
This is classic Democratic Party, ineptitude. This is classic Democratic Party ineptitude in the sense that, obviously it's NATO time right now. So, they're talking about it. I really, really hope that they don't run with this as their, main talking point. Okay? I really, really, really hope that they're not just vote for us, whoever the candidate is, whether it's Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or whoever it is, because we're the NATO party. This is I'm so hyper focused on Joe Biden dropping out that I forget to talk about regular Democratic incompetence. This is regular Democratic Party incompetence. Okay. Another Hasanabi lock from way, 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 way back. This is something that I've been talking about, something I talked about 2 years ago, where I was I really hope that when re-election comes around, they don't just run with, we are the party that's funding the Ukrainian defense, because Americans will not care about it. Americans don't care about it now, as I said 2 years ago, and they will not care about it at all. It will be something that they're negatively polarized against, as a matter of fact. Oh no, it's just this is for all of the NATO defenders in the chat. Before you get mad at me and say oh, you love Vladimir Putin. I'm not even talking about that. Okay. I don't, but I'm not talking about that right now. I'm talking about using this as a way to win re-election in the United States of America is not a successful strategy. You will never outflank the Republicans on militarism and patriotism to begin with, regardless. And you will certainly not do it by talking about the technocratic, the bureaucratic, technocratic elements of America's global military dominance in the most boring, nerdy ways possible. Okay? It's just not going to happen. Americans don't even care about that shit to begin with.
And more effective. That is Joe Biden. That is Joe Biden. And having made it more effective, then together with our allies around the globe, we are standing up to the dictator Putin. All to ensure America is strong and Americans are safe. On the other hand, do watch, because it's not new. On the other hand, watch as Donald Trump has embraced Putin. Watch that. It's not just happening today. It's been happening. As Trump, threatened to abandon NATO and encouraged Putin to invade our allies. He even said Russia can, and I'm going to quote him now, and forgive the use of the word, but he said, quote, Russia can, quote, do whatever the hell they want. And he wants to be the president of the United States?
Yo, they need to take her off. They need to take her off the benzos and just give her some coke or something. She needs to be on uppers pronto. I want to see what that would look like. Obviously, right now, you look at what she's doing, you look at her performance and you go, "Oh my God, she's so much better than Joe Biden." And while that is absolutely true, okay, you have blinders on due to how bad Joe Biden is. Okay? This is not enough. She needs to be a little bit more charismatic. Mamala needs to get off the downers and get on some uppers pronto. I think that's probably her biggest weakness. She got no aura. She's missing the charisma key. Yes, I am a firm, committed believer in the 13 keys. Almost as committed as I am to serving a 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour. And one of the keys is obviously lack of charisma or having charisma, and she definitely misses the charisma key. Here's a key for you. A 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you could do for $6 now that it's Joe Brandon's America and the Joe Brandon economy. Inflation has struck Twitch. $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Twitch Prime is still free, all things considered. You can also get gifted a sub if you are lucky. Here is the 3-minute ad break now. Coming to you. Yeah, 14th key on the 13 keys, having a sub to the Hasanabi broadcast.
And understand, as Trump bows down to dictators, he makes America weak. And that is disqualifying for someone who wants to be commander-in-chief of the United States of America. That is disqualifying.
Her cadence is so fake. Yeah, she reads really bad. I think like she reads very phony. Do you already have plans to have your plane? Do you already have your plane to flee when Project 2025 becomes a thing? Project 2025 is already a thing. And considering that I'm here 10 toes down, you know, I'm planted. I'm firm. It's happening. Another Kamala clip.
They taught us that we could do anything and should never be burdened by the limitations of other people to be able or not be able to see what can be. And this is that community who understands and can see what is possible unburdened by what has been. They taught.
Oh, please don't. Oh my God. I'm worried that the coconut memes are getting in her staffers' ears and they're just like letting her freak flag fly a little bit. No, in 2020, during the primaries, Kamala Harris had this like Democratic Party method that she would routinely demonstrate that I absolutely despised and made fun of her for quite frequently, which is the classic word salad of saying so many things while not saying anything at all. Okay? And I despise that. She would be like, we are looking into thinking of ways of potentially coming to terms with a new reality that we will bring about. I just said a whole bunch of shit, but I didn't actually say anything at all. Hillary Clinton used to do this as well. Many Democrats do this as well, where they're just like trying to run out the word count, trying to max out the word count, trying to sound profound when not saying anything at all. I think that especially when you're running against someone like Donald Trump, who is so straight to the chase that he will just straight up be like, yeah, immigrants are rapists, dog. We got to kill them. Sometimes that kind of rhetoric ends up negatively polarizing a lot of people against you, but it's really good for your own base of support. You cannot do, yeah, Jordan Peterson's a great example. You can't do this like Jordan Peterson shit. Okay? You can't do this like word salad shit. Did you just link me a Jimmy Dore show clip? You're on crack cocaine, brother. I'm sorry. Biden picks Harris as his running mate. There you go. You know, okay, here's a hyper woke rad lib take. Are you ready for this? Don't you think it's kind of misogynistic to like toy around with women's feelings this way? One, only portray them as a simple prop for your political goals. And then secondly, to just like parade them around exclusively so you can get some additional marketing around the ultimate inevitable pick. Like, what is this? The fucking Bachelor, dude? I don't know, man. Kind of misogynistic to me, dude. Sounds similar to Pepega affirmative action is racist. I mean, this is literally what Joe Biden did as far as like what went into his choices of who he was going to make the VP is literally the racist depiction of affirmative action. And that's not just me who thinks this. It was a joke even in like fucking black Twitter. Isn't it fucked up to pick a cop VP while people are protesting police? I guess. I don't know. I mean, they're gonna continue with she was a progressive DA meta, so it doesn't matter. All right, I guess it's time to follow Biden. What's your overall opinions of Kamala Harris herself? I think that she is, again, a political operative, just as all of these people that are successful within the Democratic Party are. She is at least more progressive presenting on a multitude of issues than a lot of the other people who don't even hide that, or who don't even make that effort. Especially as someone from California, I think that we could go way further, way more blue in a state like California. But she's certainly more progressive than fucking Dianne Feinstein and Nancy Pelosi. So at least there's that. Was it really that fucked up about Biden? He announced that he would select a black female VP for diversity since he's a white man. And there are just so few prominent black female politicians that speculations ran rampant. First of all, do you not understand how the fucking VP process works? I was memeing about the Bachelorette shit or the Bachelor shit, but like, what the fuck are you talking about? The entire VP process and the selection is all about fanfare and theatrics. They leaked information about who it could potentially be so that people would speculate over and over again, so that there was more attention when the time came. That's literally the most significant purpose of the VP choice. Is it a good move to pick someone from Cali instead of someone from more swing state like Georgia? Yeah, that's the other thing I was going to say. I don't think VP sway one way or the other. There are obviously notable exceptions to that rule, but it literally doesn't matter. All the shit that I said about Kamala Harris still remains true. Kamala Harris, white or minority / black, asking as a northern Norwegian. No, she's Asian and black, right? Like, isn't she Indian and black? I mean, I don't really give a shit what the fuck she is. It's always good when Democrats, like, it doesn't matter either way, okay? I just want to, once again, point out that this does not matter, okay? It does not matter. I need to stress this over and over again. It does not matter. But now that I've said that it does not matter, I would like to show you exactly how hilarious it is that the Democratic Party first locked themselves into a weird situation where they were like, it's going to be a black woman. Okay. So that was like bingo number one. Why the fuck would you say that? Two, and for reasons that I'm recycling content because you have none. Yeah, I know. Or because like it's been 4 years and I was right back then and I'm right now. And I could just hang it up. I could just hang it up and hit the old notes over and over again and just recycle the same content. If you look back at any of my commentary from like 2016, 2017, 2018, in terms of like abortion, gun control, Black Lives Matter, what the Democratic Party consistently does in terms of its ineptitude in dealing with the Republicans, and how surprisingly apt they are at being a massive hurdle to any sort of like leftist momentum within the party. All of that is exactly the same. It's basically, is the end of the season recap. This is something I tell people who think you're a grifter. I just show them your identical content from 8 to 10 years ago. Yeah. Yep. You were saying it doesn't matter. Did you just mean electoral outcome because it clearly mattered? What do you mean? I don't remember why I was saying it doesn't matter. I think I was just trying to say that like people are just voting against Trump. Like they were No one at this point is like voting for Biden. They're voting against Trump, which was correct. And the VP pick is usually pretty irrelevant. I've mentioned before, by the way, number one is silly because it's like, then you're devaluing everything they bring to the platform, and you're saying you're only choosing them because they're a black woman, which literally plays into every fucking affirmative action stereotype that Republicans point to all the time by just doing that. Obviously, your race or your background is only as important as it contributes to your worldview and the policies that you advocate for. Never forget that. Otherwise, you know, Candace Owens is woke by definition because she's a black woman too. Two, they chose a cop. Career prosecutors are always going to have a litany of horrible things that they've done in terms of criminal justice, no matter how hard they try to portray themselves as progressive. But at a time when we have racial injustice at the forefront of the political conversation, I absolutely adore the fact that the Democratic Party decided to go with a segregationist who routinely lied about being arrested during the civil rights protests that he never actually fucking got arrested in. A segregationist who worked with segregationists, rather. I'm using embellished, hyperbolic language. Obviously, Joe Biden wasn't openly a segregationist. He only advocated for busing being bad because it was forced busing. It would not be regarded well by the whites or the blacks in the racial jungle he said America was going to become. But we went with a segregationist and a cop at a time when people are talking about criminal justice, police, and the racial injustices that black people are subjected to. The Democratic Party was like, we're going to go with a dude who has definitely had terrible fucking optics on the racial justice side and a cop. It doesn't even end there, though. The worst part about this, even though it doesn't matter, they went with a cop from California, the famous, notable swing state of California. Now, while I hold the position that your VP pick doesn't ultimately matter, these people claim that it does matter. So even if it does matter, why the fuck did they hurt themselves on virtually every single reason why the VP pick should matter? This will, you know, feed into the narrative from Republicans that claim that, Kamala Harris. Meth glow up? What does that even mean? This is from 4 years ago. This is so old. I still have the TTS on. It's so old that I have the old interface. Washington Dem rep calls on Biden to drop and resign. Yes. Did you hit puberty? No, it's just a different condenser. That's it. This is a radical leftist. She was pro Medicare for all, even though she was fake pro Medicare for all. It's funny because, like, Kamala Harris, much like Pete Buttigieg, was regarded by the media as someone you had to pay attention to. Someone that you should want to vote for. Kind of like Elizabeth Warren as well. They were super heavy. They went hard on Kamala Harris. And the irony there was the fact that Kamala Harris was kind of unpopular, even in her own fucking home state. I don't even understand why the fuck they would do this. But hey, what do I know? This duo is still years ahead of Donald Trump. Don't be fucking ridiculous. And secondly, she's not the worst. I think Pete Buttigieg would have been worse. There are a number of different candidates, like Michael Bloomberg, that would have been fucking worse. Kamala Harris is still much better than a lot of the choices that the administration could have gone with. This is a good pick. She's young, dynamic, tough debater who knows how to throw a punch, and she... H-Bizzle! Our DNC operative, who no longer is in the chat. I'm actually shocked that he hasn't come back since this is the election cycle. Yeah. When's the last time he spoke in the fucking chat? 64 months subscriber. 2/19/2024. 1 month until 5 years straight, baby. Also, no one should trust Michael Cohen. That dude was knee deep in Trump crimes, and no one should believe the oxygen he breathes. I am not watching GTRP any longer. Full FIFA main ultimate team Degens. Still at UAW. Would you want Sean Fain on your stream? You know Jonah. Yeah, he is our DNC operative, chat. Came back just to shit on your moot. Yeah, he just came back to shit on Michael Cohen. Messed up. Why are you always so negative? I have no idea what makes you happy, what you stand for. Wait, what? Why am I always so negative? Am I being negative right now? Is H. Bizzle on October 7th leaver? No, not at all. Are you kidding me? My man's a 64-month subscriber. You're not negative, just dry as fuck. Guys, I think people forget that, like, I talk about a lot of gruesome stuff. Like, as far as political commentary goes, calling my commentary dry is pretty funny. You're comparing me to, like, Kai Cenat, who is an entertainer through and through. My job is to make politics entertaining, consumable, and educational, right? So yeah, the subject matter is super dry. I think I do a pretty decent job at making it engaging, making it dynamic, making it as entertaining as I possibly can. No one's comparing you. No, I don't think you understand it. What I'm saying is, if your expectation is that, like, this broadcast is going to be similar to, like, XQC, Kai Cenat, or any number of, like, top content creators on this platform, yeah, it's not going to be like that because I'm doing politics, you know? But ultimately my goal is to make politics entertaining and appealing and understandable. And I think I do a pretty decent job at that. People help energize black voters that are younger. If you look at Biden's last event, come on, Lib Bizzle. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Energize black voters that are younger? Get the fuck out of here. Kamala Harris's, like, appeal for the black vote was inconsequential in comparison to someone like Bernie Sanders. Like, Bernie Sanders had an infinitely larger appeal within the younger black constituents than Kamala Harris did. Like, I don't hate this decision. I think there are infinitely worse people that they could have chosen, and I'm glad that they chose Kamala Harris over something even worse than that. And overall, like, even the fact that they're choosing a black woman in and of itself is better than choosing someone like fucking Tim Kaine, which brought literally nothing to the table. So I'm excited for the Kamala Harris choice from the marketability point of view, even though it is kind of like affirmative action low key to say we're only choosing someone because they're black and a woman. That's really fucking dumb. But this notion that she's going to energize younger black voters is a silly one when numbers themselves don't show that reality. The only reason why this is a remarkable choice is because after the Bernie Bros, the only fucking crazy psychotic fandom on the internet that could ever go up against the MAGA psychopath is K-Hive. As a matter of fact, K-Hive is even crazier than the fucking Bernie Bros. So very excited for that because K-Hive sickos will destroy the... Anyway, who's Tim Kaine? Tim Kaine in the membrane. Tim Kaine in the brain. You're aging like fine wine. Thank you. I was a young boy back then at the age of, I think I was like 29, maybe 28, or I think I was 29. You sound like you're from a 1940s radio broadcast in this recording. Chatter's saying you had a glow up clear. Don't remember the damage James Marco St. Marco did to your head. Yeah, this is like after. This is August 13th, 2020. This is when I got Will Neff, James Marco St. Marco, to buzz my hair, and it didn't grow back for so long, and I hated it. Yeah, that was in celebration of getting 10,000 subs. Which is crazy when you think about it. Pandemic Hassan, hits diff. Yeah. All right, let's continue. Kamala Harris has this going for her in a bad way. Let's take a look at this thread of, top Kamala Harris moments.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
She's right. Clapping along to a song protesting her in Puerto Rico and stopping when her aide translated it to her. This was really funny.
I love good news. Love good news. I just love good news.
My goat. Me after being indoctrinated by an alien overlord calling what? Good news after the global intergalactic invasion of 2063. Dancing down the hallway with a bunch of children during her campaign. Oh, this was awesome. Terrible ass beat. Even Cardi couldn't work with this. Okay, chill. I think Megaphonics is not even entirely wrong. I can't believe I'm saying that. I hope this does not actually play into him becoming more unhinged here. But to be honest, when she's off script in moments like these, she kind of comes off as the average suburban middle-aged mom. It low-key works, I think. Don't underestimate the average suburban middle-aged mom vote. I don't think you're wrong. I can't believe I'm saying that. I hope this doesn't come back to bite me in the ass.
See you guys later. It's the Bennetts.
Hello, Madam Vice President. Hello, Senator Bennett. Thank you.
Okay, that one's actually a banger. That one's, I've never seen that one before. That's awesome. By the way, isn't that Blumenthal and then Bennett back to back? What did they know? Both have come out against Brandon.
It's the Bennetts.
Hello, Madam Vice President. Hello, Senator Bennett. Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Kamala through the first brig of Stonewall.
I like it.
Yes. This is the song of the summer, okay? There she is. 54 years, standing right here. We fought for our rights. Unbelievable. Tell us something that we can be optimistic about this Pride season.
We are all in this together.
Okay.
We are fighting for the ideals of our country. We believe in its promise of equality and freedom. We are not going to be deterred. We are not going to tire. We're not going to throw up our hands. We're going to roll up our sleeves.
To me, Stonewall means strength in numbers.
Yeah.
Every time you put a rock on that wall, we become stronger and
That's
stronger
right.
and stronger. And you put your rock here today.
Oh.
Thank you. How were the tips this weekend?
Very good.
Very good? Wow.
People are very good. Yes.
America needs a mom in charge.
I see our college students up there. And let me just tell you, I love Gen Z. I don't know if something, I love Gen Z. So, okay, for the older adults, this is going to be a humbling thing I'm about to share with you. If someone is 18 years old today, they were born in 2005. Oh, yeah, check that out. Think about that for a minute.
Okay, that hurt me too. Like, why am I catching a stray? Oh, she's doing the what can be unburdened by what has been again. Yo, this is her bar.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know? What can be unburdened by what has been. 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 What?
Why is she so zooted? I don't know. I think this is the reason why all of her fucking staffers keep quitting. They keep telling her, like, dude, stop saying that shit. Like, nobody understands what you mean by it. And it kind of sucks. You think you're eating, but like all you sound like you just ate an edible. Okay. Oh, she didn't eat, bro. She ate a bar. She didn't. Those aren't bars. She ate a bar. She's barred out.
What we can see, what we believe can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
Like, dude, Bill Clinton's another fucking fossil fuel too. And is younger than Joe Biden.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. Who we can be unburdened by who we have been. What can be unburdened by what has been. Where we can be unburdened by where we have been and unburdened by where we are right now. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be.
Bro, she thinks this is fire. Okay. Oh my God. What is she doing? Oh my God. Stop. Oh God. She's going to come out so strong with this. How am I not myself? The Kamala Harris story. Oh my God. This is 56 seconds so far and it feels like a lifetime.
Unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What could be unburdened by what had been. What can be unburdened by what has 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 been. Unburdened by what has been, believing in what can be. What can be unburdened by what has been?
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 She thinks this is fire because it's probably a recycled version of that Marxist phrase of tradition weighing on the mind of the living. I mean, maybe it does track. Her father, which she is not on good terms with, Donald Sterling Harris, I believe, is a Marxist professor at Stanford. He actually is a Marxist. Pete Buttigieg and Kamala Harris both had Marxist dads. Hold on. I don't want to mess up his name. Is it not Sterling Harris? No, it's not Donald Sterling Harris. Donald Sterling is the racist guy. Yeah, Donald J. Harris. Donald J. Harris is a Jamaican-American economist and professor emeritus at Stanford University, known for applying post-Keynesian ideas to development economics. He's the father of the 49th and current vice president of the United States, Kamala Harris. And the coconut tree thing is literally like the coconut tree argument could be applied in Marxist terms for sure. So maybe, I don't know if she thinks she's like doing, liberal, like a liberal version of that kind of. I don't know how. The coconut tree thing is basically saying you're a product of your material conditions. Yes, it is materialism. Like the coconut tree thing is materialism, 100%. That's not even a joke. She's doing liberal dialectics. Yes. But we know that she's not exactly a socialist at all. But yeah, he's criticized Kamala Harris quite a bit. Like he wrote a scathing op-ed about her, talking about smoking weed, smoking ganja, and like tying it back to being Jamaican. He was very, very disappointed in her. Regardless, what can be unburdened by what has been, I don't know what the fuck that's about.
Unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been?
What can be unburdened by what has been?
What could be unburdened by what had been?
Okay, I can't listen to the rest.
We
of
need you to be Mamala of the country.
Absolutely hating when Drew Barrymore asked her to be Mamala.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's being delivered
And so
tomorrow.
just 1 minute out. I have 1
Okay,
minute.
yeah.
Kosher salt, fresh ground pepper. Maybe chop up a little thyme, and then you can mix it even with. Okay, so do the salt and pepper all over it, just lather that baby up, right? With on the outside in the cavity. You could also chop up, but not with the thyme, just the salt and pepper. Mix that up also with some thyme. You could even do a little rosemary if you want. Under the skin with some butter before you're gonna cook it. So that butter will just melt in there. And then get a nice big bottle of cheap white wine to baste with butter. Yes, hi.
She puts my hand.
Meeting her Jewish mother-in-law.
She puts my face in her hand. So it's Barb and Mike, my father-in-law's Mike. She puts my face in her hand. She looks at me and she says, "Oh, look at you. You're prettier than you're on television. Mike, look at her." No. I swear to you. God. She puts my face in her hand.
I can't believe she did that. I can't believe she did that. That's crazy. Dude, there's a lot of stuff here. You are very good looking for your age. How old do you think I am? I'm fucking 32, man. I'm about to be 33. What the hell? Not that funny. I mean, it was pretty. This person is one heartbeat away from the presidency. I don't know. She was pretty good at the accent. It comes from a place of closeness to the subject matter for sure.
I love Venn diagrams. I really do. I love Venn diagrams. It's just something about those three circles and the analysis about where there is the intersection, right? Yeah, I see people that you agree with me, right? So I asked my team, I brought props. I love Venn
Yeah, no, she did do a good job with the accent, and therefore it's Hasanabi approved.
Governor and I, and we were all doing a tour of the library here, and talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of.
Okay, the more I see her, the more I'm like, maybe it's not so bad. Am I going crazy? Am I getting mama-led right? Place. 8 years of this, not so bad. Yes, it's fucking awful, bro. Bro, she's actually got some riz, I swear. This would play so well with the live, laugh, love crowd for real. These are the conversations I have while I'm tripping on acid. Can you explain for non-Americans who really don't get much coverage on Kamala Harris why people seemingly dislike her more compared to the other possible Dem candidates? I wouldn't say people dislike her more. She just has no riz. Like she has negative aura. When she speaks for an extended period of time. She drones on, and she doesn't say much at all. Like she says so many words and yet says absolutely nothing at the same time. Of course, in comparison to someone like Joseph Robinette Brandon, who, by the way, I'm going to give you the audio from the audio that President Biden's team asked to be removed from the interview. You know, on the one hand, you got what can be unburdened by what has been. On the other hand, this is what you got.
In addition to that, I have more blacks in my administration than any other president, all of the presidents combined, and major positions, cabinet positions.
That's when he's coherent, which is unique in comparison to the many moments where he's not coherent. You know what I'm saying? It's like, damn it, Joe. Couldn't have this been a flub moment for you? Maybe it would have been better. Someone in the chat said, at least he didn't say colored. I mean, he basically did. Like, he hit the hard B on that blacks. Put some stank on it. Man, thought he was back in 1960? Yeah. Is this a recording of the Founder Fathers? The Founder Father. And also the other part that he wanted to get out of the audio was in reference to Donald Trump's call for the death penalty for the Central Park 5, the removal of, I don't know if they even called for their hanging or not, but they said convicted of murder. Civic Media, Wisconsin-based Progressive Talk Radio Network said Thursday it had agreed to make 2 edits at the request of his campaign before the broadcast aired, a decision the station said fell short of journalistic interview standards. Isn't it cool when one former president is regularly saying, I have my African American over there. Blacks love me. And then the other one's like, I got blacks. So many of them. One could say I own them, Jack. Like, great. This is literally the same thing that I keep repeating over and over again. Neither of these motherfuckers give a shit about black people. Like, even a little bit, okay? It's great. It's awesome. Wonderful, wonderful situation. Anyway, let's get back to Mamala.
What we need to do to lay these wires, what we need to do to create these jobs. And there is such great significance to the passage of time when we think about a day in the life of our children. The governor and I
think the passage of time is significant. She's right. Oh, this is the classic. You know this one already. We all know this is the best thing that she's ever said.
Do not come. Do not come.
When talking about immigrants, by the way, asylum seekers, this was her talking about asylum seekers, but it's such a ridiculous standalone quote that, like, obviously people forgot the context in which she said this, but you know.
Do not come. Do not come.
Court is on the line. No, Taraji. Now, you know I wouldn't do that, especially not to a fellow bison. The real, ain't you? You know. So what's on your mind? Oh, Madam VP Harris, I'm worried about the election. Women's reproductive rights are on the line. Our Supreme Court is on the line. Our basic freedoms are being tested, Madam VP. I know you've been traveling across the country. What are you hearing? Yeah, girl, I'm out here in these streets. And let me tell you, you're right, Toronto.
She's out here in these streets.
There is so much at stake in this moment. The majority of us believe in freedom and equality. But these extremists, as they say, they not like us. They not. There's a full-on attack.
as they say, they not like us. Okay, this one's bad. This one's like, this is negative aura. Not good. Not good. Abort.
Extremists, as they say, they not like us. They not. There's a full-on attack on our...
Even she's having a hard time. After that line, she's like, yeah, they not.
There's a full-on attack on our fundamental freedoms. The freedom to vote. Yep. The freedom to love who you love. The freedom to be safe from gun violence. The freedom for a woman to make decisions about her own body, not having her government.
Oops, that was loud.
Big Sister General. Big Sister General.
It's dank. What? Another one?
Okay, so there's some education that needs to be done. I can see that. Okay, so there's some education that needs to be done. I can see that.
Damn, she's holding a Funko Pop? That's crazy. What the hell is this? Have you seen the video titled Kamala Harris prosecutor sent this innocent man to prison by Vice? No. I might have. I mean, I've covered Kamala Harris's prosecution history quite extensively, but I don't know why you keep spamming this over and over again. Like, Jesus Christ, dude. We're riding with Mamala now, okay? Maybe that guy deserved it. How innocent was he really? All right. All jokes aside, one last Kamala moment. Okay.
And as always, Wakanda forever. Paid for by Kamala Harris.
What? I don't remember this.
And as always, Wakanda forever. Paid for by Kamala Harris.
That's real too. I thought it was fake. Yo, I literally thought that was AI, like some racist shit that Republicans cooked up. I thought she was, bro, I straight up thought that was some like racist shit that the Republicans made with AI to be like, see, that's so, oh my God, that's nuclear cringe. That's, okay. An actual good clip of her. I've never seen people post before about apartheid last time.
Go up to the Capitol Mall. I felt like almost every weekend and test against apartheid. And so this is us at a protest. We were protesting in particular for divestment from South Africa.
You know what's crazy? Brandon was also super anti-apartheid very publicly. We have both a president and a vice president that were ironically very anti-South African apartheid. Just, you know, something to think about. Something to think about in terms of the current existing, very much supported apartheid in Israel.
And the need for the United.
But to be fair, Kamala, aka Mamala, has been outflanking Brandon quite a bit on that front. So
States to stand in support of those who are fighting against apartheid. So I was very active. We would go.
Okay, let's get the Fox News doing victory laps for the past week and a half at this point.
A staggering 24 hours has weakened President Biden's re-election bid as he faces what may be the most high-stakes pressure presidential news conference in modern history. And remember, today, we were supposed to be talking about Donald Trump being sentenced, but we're talking about the survival of President Biden politically. Just hours from now, Biden is set to give that solo news conference at the Nato summit as he fights to prove he is fit for office.
Yo, these photos are so funny. Oh my God. Remember when Kayleigh McEnany was fucking tweeting about me when she was the White House press secretary? Good times. Also, love this photo. They are so, God damn, they're fucking aggro on shit like this. Isn't Brandon live right now? He's delivering a NATO speech, though. This is not the press summit yet.
Office. Also this hour, Senate Democrats meeting with Biden's top advisors to vent their serious concerns about Biden's viability. And House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is about to hold a news conference as fears surge through the Democratic Party that Biden will lose to Donald Trump in a historic GOP landslide. We'll take you to it when that happens at about 12:30. We've got a lot of breaking news. Buckle up, guys. Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Kayleigh McEnany here with my co-host, Emily Campagno. Also joining us, Fox News contributor and president of American Spirit Enterprises, Tammy Bruce, former NFL sideline reporter and host of the Michelle Tafoya podcast, Michelle Tafoya, and the one and only co-anchor of America's Newsroom, Bill Hemmer. Happy to have him today. Well, the stakes for Biden's solo appearance at the NATO summit are escalating by the hour as his support for his candidacy unravels. Supporters from Congress to Hollywood are all warning that he needs to step aside for the sake of the party. Meanwhile, new reporting by Politico reveals that former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, has suggested to people that Biden won't win this November and should step aside. Ouch. She's encouraging Democrats to speak out. We're also learning that former President Obama knew about George Clooney's devastating op-ed about Biden. Clooney reportedly told Obama what he was about to say, but Obama, he didn't shape what was going to be said, but he didn't try to stop him. Biden's desperately fighting to keep his job, and two of the most powerful and influential Democrats may not have his back. Bill, I think it's important just to pause for a moment before we get to all the Obama reporting and let it sink in that
News ass. Chances the press conference goes well. Low. This is not like the low. This is not like the George Stephanopoulos conversation. It's a little bit later in the day. It is coming after he already is delivering a teleprompter speech. It is going to be contentious. I suspect that they probably will try to go to as many pro-Biden journalists as possible because, let's be real. These guys have picks. They have favorites, right? They have people that they know they can go to even right now. But all it will take is one journalist to legitimately do their job. I would say that I told you guys ahead of the George Stephanopoulos interview that he was not going to perform super disastrously, and I was right. He didn't. There is not really a way for him to basically reinstill confidence in him no matter what happens. However, the George Stephanopoulos interview was bad, but it was nowhere near as bad. Biden just introduced Zelensky as Putin at the summit. You're missing out. How are you guys watching me and the summit at the same time? Y'all are fucking freaks. Okay, give me a link to the summit. Give me a link to the summit. Y'all are real fucking freaks, dude. Actually real freaks. You think you're the only politics stream I'm watching right now? I just don't know, man.
Thanks to all partners for the Patriots and other air defense systems, provision of
aggression from a brutal tyrant next door. I want to commend Ukrainian armed forces. Their defense secretary leaders are here as well, and the Ukrainian people. You're incredible. And through all of your country, you're incredible. Their courage, the determination, the sacrifices they've made. And I commend all the nations that stepped up when it counted to stand with Ukraine. I've said before, Russia will not prevail in this war. Ukraine will prevail in this war, and we'll stand with them every single step of the way. That's what the compact says, loudly and clearly. And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin is going to beat President Putin. President Zelensky. I'm so focused on beating Putin, we got to worry about it. Anyway, Mr. President.
I'm better.
You are a hell of a lot better.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Mr. President, dear.
Okay, I take it back. He's cooked. He's so cooked at the press conference. Oh my God. Chat. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, dude. Okay. I'm lowering his chances at the press conference now. That is if it happens at all. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
What happens to Ukraine matters. World are united behind Ukraine. World where free countries like Ukraine want to commend Ukrainian armed forces. Their defense secretary leaders are here as well. You're incredible. Their nations have stepped up when it counted to stand with Ukraine. I've said before, and we'll stand with them every single step of the way. That's what the compact says of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin.
He's like, President Putin. I mean, President Zelensky.
President Putin. We're going to beat President Putin. President Zelensky. Determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin.
Yeah. Biden left. He didn't take questions. Yeah, it's not happening yet. It's going to happen later. It's going to happen in like an hour. He missed the quick time event. He did. He really did. I guess he's got a cold again. There it goes. There he goes. Our boy. He's doing his dang best, okay? He's doing his darndest. He's jet lagged. Fuck, dude. Once again, you were right in 2019, huh? Yes. He ain't wrong. What do you mean? Who's the president of Putin? Putin Jack. Putin Jack. Got the malarkey. Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord. That is Kaya place. The room gasped. POTUS mistakenly refers to President Zelensky as President Putin before correcting himself at NATO event. The room gasped. The media is so desperate. This is Russian propaganda. What? Could be worse. Could have said Gorbachev or Brezhnev. It's true. Free Kaya till it's said backwards? No. Ay. He was about to say Stalin. Yeah. Okay. Let's get back. Let's get back to Fox News.
Right now, during this hour, as of 3 weeks ago, we were supposed to be talking about Donald J. Trump being sentenced in a Manhattan courtroom just down the street. Instead, we are talking about the survival of Biden.
And that's been bumped to September, and who knows if it'll happen on the calendar for Judge Merchan in that month. I think you're very right about there's a lot of moving parts right now as we speak. I think the story is changing by the hour. The Jeffries announcement in the last hour that House Dems are going to meet again at some point, in addition to what he has to say at 12:30. You got the Biden staffers meeting with the senators to try and calm their nerves. You've got a memo that
Happy birthday, Alpha Team.
Was just obtained by the Associated Press about Biden's path to victory. And they point to Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan as the clearest way to win again. And they also point out that no other challenger right now would outperform Joe Biden in the Democratic Party. I think that's significant. They're fighting on the inside of the campaign and as well as the White House. Hillary Scholten is a Democrat from Grand Rapids, Michigan. She represents Congressional District 3. That's Gerald Ford country. It's been Republican for a long time. Democrats took control of it, but it's still one of these swing districts. She just came out an hour ago and said Biden should step down. Gives you a little sense, I guess, what she is thinking in a head-to-head race with her Republican challenger that's yet to be determined. They're going to have primary races later in the summer. Look at
They got to do these. Okay, so there's two things. So the Republican media has to, on the one hand, and this is kind of similar to what they did before in the lead up to the debate as well. On the one hand, they have to prop up Biden because they know Biden is a much better candidate to run Trump against. But also on the other hand, they obviously have to undermine him every step of the way. But if they undermine him too much, then people are going to be like, oh man, like maybe we don't want, maybe he is really, really fucking bad, I guess. So obviously they can't lean on it too much. So they're playing this, they're operating on this tightrope where on the one hand, of course, they're going to shit on him. They're going to say he's old. They're going to say the Democrats are chaotic. But also on the other hand, they have to literally be like, it's better to keep him in the race than anybody else because they probably see the internal polling that the Democrats are now testing out as well, according to the New York Times. Oh my God, Elent News. That is devastating. Much chatter from those watching the speech about Biden incorrectly referring to the leader of Ukraine as President Putin. People in the room called out Zelensky's name to Biden to point out his error. What is this? I just made fun of Obama yesterday and now he's coming out. It's really funny that when Bernie Sanders was surging to take the nomination after the Nevada landslide, it only took Obama 3 days to pick up the phone and coordinate the party to block Bernie. It's been 2 weeks since Biden publicly face-planted and he's nowhere to be found. Yeah, I showed this tweet on stream yesterday. You're absolutely correct because he's a bitch. A complete bitch. Real Tim Apple vibes? No, it's so much worse than Tim Apple. Bro, like, it's so much worse than Tim Apple because he spent the entire speech talking about how they're going to kill Vladimir Putin. It's like, it is, he could have said any number of names, any number of Slavic names there, okay? Dead former USSR leaders, whatever. And he just hit the one guy he should have not said. President Putin. Yeah. It would be like FDR calling Churchill Hitler. Yeah, he could have said President Stalin and it would have been better, okay? Oh, Jesus. Anyway, let's continue.
The Washington Post poll earlier today. Head-to-head registered voters, it's 46-46, all right? If I'm Biden, I'm like, hey, that's the good news. You go into that poll, you find 67% of all...
He called him Vladimir before? Well, I mean, his name is Vladimir. It's Volodymyr.
Allies all...
Like, that's not that big of a flub, in my opinion. Like, that's
to Ukraine's security.
like, it is the fucking same name. Like, that one is like a totally understandable mistake. That's fine. It's, you know, that's not, you know, it's Volodymyr versus Vladimir. That part is okay. It's like on a tier list of like flubs, that one doesn't, in my opinion, that one's not as bad. Yeah, he didn't say Volodymyr Putin. He just says President Putin. That one is bad. That one's real bad. Saying Zelensky and Putin is like not. Bush calling for the invasion of Iraq instead of Ukraine. Yeah, that's like that. That's what it reminds me of. Yeah, Bush's illegal invasion of Iraq. I mean, Ukraine. Iraq too. Holy shit.
Voters went in withdrawal, not just Dems. 85% of all voters think he's too old. And then you go into this a little later here. If you were to go with a backup plan, according to what ABC and the Washington Post has found, 29% among Democrats named Kamala Harris. All right. So she easily led everybody else in the group. But they had 30 candidates on this questionnaire. Huh. She's the only one in double digits. Everybody else was in single digits, what leads you to think if Biden drops out, how would they forge some sort of unanimous candidate before Chicago or even during Chicago?
A ton of questions there. And, you know, as you noted, the 10th House Democrat calling for him to step aside. Reports are there will be more. They're just waiting for foreign leaders to leave town and Nato to wrap up. So we'll see if that happens. And I think the big picture here, Tammy, as we look at this, you know, the story last week was the dam was breaking, and we saw Lloyd Doggett and, you know, all of these Democrats trickle out and say step aside. Then it was the dam is holding. It seemed like, at least in the front of cameras, House leadership was saying, look, we're in this. Pelosi saying this, Schumer saying this in the Senate. But then you get Clooney yesterday, and I think it was significant. And then you get what Pelosi said on Morning Joe, and I think it was significant. Made all the more significant when you read Politico Playbook today. We're told that he reached out, George Clooney, to former President Obama to give him a heads up. While Obama did not encourage or advise Clooney to say what he said, he also didn't object to it. We're told from people familiar with their exchange. They go on to say Pelosi's encouraging swing state Democrats, if you want to come out against Biden, do so. Wait for NATO.
Yeah. It's remarkable that while Clooney could call Obama and talk to him, he couldn't call Joe Biden.
Right.
He does this publicly. The public embarrassment and evisceration of the sitting president, like him or not, a man that they have supported literally with that fundraiser up to just a few weeks before, and then also condemned everyone who pointed out the condition of the president, including this network, calling it cheap fakes. And now everyone's saying, well, yeah, we knew. So
I fucking despise this. I absolutely hate giving, like, I hate giving Fox, like, I hate being in a situation where Fox News can just stand on business and be like, oh, see, we were fucking right. I hate that. I hate that to my very fucking core. Okay? Because it's like, even if someone is dynamic, they're going to do this. Like, they did this with, bro, they were talking about Barack Obama's, like, tan suit, okay? It's not a thing. It's just, no matter what it is, they're going to fucking clamp on it and just hit it over and over and over again, harder than I hit the top of the hour ad break. You don't have to hate the top of the hour ad break, though. You can subscribe for $6 because of inflation, or for free with a Twitch Prime. Do you think it'd be better, feasible for Brandon to step down now and hand delegates to Kamala? Yes. What are we talking about? Like, they're right for the wrong reasons, okay? They're right, but for the wrong reasons. Make no mistake. You could be right at the top of the hour for the right reasons by subscribing. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Okay, that didn't even make sense. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. I am Kodak. Thank you for the 5. Get the subs. Line 5 people who no longer see that as the top of the hour. Oh, dude, Aaron Rupar has become my favorite content creator, by the way, over the course of the past couple of weeks now. Because if you want to understand maximalist copium, he has so many good takes. Biden just introduced President Zelensky as President Putin, but immediately caught himself. I'm better, Zelensky joked in response. Aaron T. Rupar, my goat. Every day he has a new take that I read, and I'm just like, that's brilliant. That's so good. He immediately caught himself, dude. It's fine. It's fine. Nobody even heard it, actually. Nobody thinks it's weird. Everyone actually was clapping and celebrating it. Comrade Hoppa, thank you for the 5 give the subs. Black Catarot, thank you for the 5 give the subs as well. I am Kodak, thank you for the 5 community give the subs. Some copium from Brooklyn Dad. Ooh, Brooklyn Dad, is he defiant? Is he going to be defiant? I think he's going to be defiant. When I cast my vote for President Biden, I wasn't expecting much. I just wanted Trump out of office. I knew he was old. I knew he had a stutter. I knew he had a rep for gaffes. I didn't care. Just wanted Trump gone. 4 years later, things are different. I wasn't expecting that President Biden would be the most legislative successful president in my lifetime. I wasn't expecting him to help expand Nato. I wasn't expecting him to lower insulin and inhalers. Wait, why weren't you? Like, what? I mean, not the NATO thing, because, like, that was Vladimir Putin's gift, but... Oh, my God. Dude, look at this side eye, dude.
Damn, this guy's good.